Welcome to Oestersund in Sweden. The weather just a little bit inclement, but that certainly has not dampened the spirits of the fans here. The athletes genuinely touched by the reception that they've had, especially coming into the finish area. And it looks like we're going to have a fabulous afternoon's racing. Well, Oestersund in Sweden is the latest World Cup destination, and it's crunch time ahead of the World Championships in Falun. We've got all-out sprint action for you over the next 2 hours, but it's in the classic form of cross-country racing. A couple of little changes in terms of the start. Look out for some chevrons very similar to the mass start that you would see under normal circumstances. They've decided to build those in as a safety factor, hoping to reduce some accidents away from the start line. And we're set up for the quarterfinals to run through semis and into the finals. And as always, a six-person race. That'll be a straight knockout with the winners and then fastest losers able to go through to the next round. And it's a reasonably straightforward course in terms of the way that it's laid out here. We've got 2 laps of 634 metres to make up that 1.2. The loop goes away and out to basically 2 straightforward left-hand turns, and then it's a bit more of a gentle curving left-hander to bring them back into the stadium. First time round, then they'll bear off to the left and continue round the course. Second time, it's head off to the right and into what is an absolutely packed finish area. So a little bit of wind, a little bit of moisture in the air with some light snow for this classic event. But Valentine's Day, love is in the air, and I think you're going to love what we've got coming up for you. Fabulous environment here, fabulous atmosphere on what should be a really good course. And when you add in the spice of some athletes having to go for selection in those very competitive teams, then they'll be wanting to perform well in front of the coaches here. Marit Bjorgen, the overall leader, just going through her final phase of warm-up. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back to Oestersund, we'll be getting those women's quarterfinals underway. Stay with us here on Eurosport. Welcome back to Oestersund in Sweden. Women's and men's classic sprint action to come. The grandstands here absolutely packed at this Oestersund venue, and it really does underline the fact that Patrick Winterton mentioned, the fact that Oestersund will host the 2019 Biathlon World Championships. It's just one of those venues that really does bring these Nordic sports to life. But today it's the turn of cross-country. That's the start area away from the classic start. Gonna try and build in some safety factors into this race to try and ensure that there are no pile-ups, as it were. 6 racers going in the classic style, so there is that ingredient for problems, especially on the tighter part of the course. 2 634-metre laps to make up each sprint, as we get ready to get the first of the women's quarterfinals underway. 5 women's quarterfinals followed on by the men's as we cover this one right the way through to the finals, the last racing before the World Championships in Falun. Women's and men's classic sprint from Oestersund about to get underway, and in the #1 bib for Norway, Sjednes. Looking very good, classic athlete, and very, very good within this discipline. Number 11 bib, familiar face to us all on Eurosport, and a big smile from Therese Johaug. And not the only familiar face out there on this start line. Alongside her is compatriot Heidi Weng. So when you add Sjetnes into this, that's 3 magnificent Norwegian athletes in the first quarter-final alone. And joining them in the number 21 bib is Linn Solmskär of Sweden, and another Swedish athlete, bib 10, Maja Dahlqvist, and finally Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, bib 30. It's a bit of a who's who, isn't it, really, from a cross-country point of view. And a little slip and stumble there from Dahlqvist. Look at the speed away from the line. Double poling, though, is Heidi Weng's choice, and that's great work. The dive across to the track, and Sjetnes just flying up this climb. They go flat and then climb to the highest part of the course that's just around about the 200-metre mark. And then it goes through a descent and then another small climb just after 500 into the finish. And it's Jetnes that's away. And looking good. Kari Hagen again back to that double poling. And despite the stumble, Maja Dahlqvist tucking in second position. These downhill elements crucial in terms of just getting that little bit of oxygen back into the body, setting yourself up for the finish, but also making sure that you've got a clean and tidy run. A little move there from Heidi Weng, but it's not worked. Well blocked off by Dahlqvist, and Dahlqvist with another stumble. She's Bambi on ice today, but she's absolutely flying into this next climb under the intermediate bridge. And then down once again. As you can see, it's a fairly basic layout, but it produces some really exciting racing. And Johaug nearly went a cropper at the back of the field. And now the attack once again from Weng is on. Dahlqvist once again sees her off and just waiting in the wings. Solmska of Sweden. Maybe she can do something here. Bib 21 in fourth position, but still leading this one out. It's the favourite to take this heat. Kari Hagen. Jetnes. And again, slippery. A few of these skiers look like the wax isn't quite right, not quite grippy enough when they straighten out. Coming up the hills. Looking very comfortable now. The Norwegian. With speed of 18.48 kilometres per hour. They do pick up some decent speed coming down these descents. And then back round that more gentle left-hand loop, but there's a little tight part to that turn at the start coming off the downhill that is going to cause problems. Again, Weng has another go and double poling as long as she can. Dahlqvist, and Dahlqvist looks to be running out of gas. Weng just shortening that stride up the hill. Good technique from the Norwegian. Looks like Norway 1 and 2 coming off the top. It's going to be a very straightforward win here for Jetnes in quarter-final number 1 for the women. And she will get this across the line. Weng has done her work, saved her best till last to overpower Dahlqvist. But that's going to be a fast heat. Keep an eye on Dahlqvist. Her time of 2:52.6 may prove to be valuable. I think Solmska down at 2:54.2. That'll be out of it. But that was full on from the start. Jetnes has come here in really good form and looked very good in qualification as well. And she powered away from the start, and once she got it sorted to that first climb, and she had to work hard for that, then she was away and clear. But didn't Weng stick to her task? Well, that stumble from Dahlqvist, I wonder whether that was just a ski caught by Weng. But in the end, on the final climb, the two athletes completely separated and just a straight sprint to the top, and Weng got out and into the downhill first to double pole it through for second position. So Jetnes and Weng, incidentally, Weng 2.20 seconds slower than Jetnes, so that 2:49.91 is a fantastic time. Into our second quarter-final for the women. Going in bib 4, it'll be fabulously named Mona-Liisa Malvaletto for Finland. Marit Bjorgen, the overall World Cup leader, with the yellow bib on. Big response from the crowd for the Norwegian. And then the under-23 leader in the turquoise bib, Stina Nielsen. Been impressed with her racing in classic and freestyle this year. She's looked really strong. Number 17 will be Ann Killinen. Number 24 is Sophie Caldwell of the USA. And second US athlete, Sadie Bjornsson, is bib 27. USA still giving a very good account of themselves within the speed events. But Bjorgen, no doubt about her selection for Falun. It's other athletes that are going to have to excel at crunch time. But her pride will ensure that she wants to bring as many points home from this one as she can. And just a little outpaced in the first part of that race, and a big catch on the ski there. Stina Nilsson and Bjorgen getting in each other's way, and Nilsson's down. Top of the first climb, and that probably has put pay to the under-23s challenge. She's going to have to give it some serious gas in the second part of this race, as Ann Killonen benefits from that one, along with the other Finn in this race, Marvaletto. So Killonen and Marvaletto leading this out just ahead of Bjorgen. Bjorgen, as she so often does in these races, bides her time, tries to make it through without too much damage, where she can give her all in the final. So tactically, just keep an eye on what she's going to do. Takes a nice wide line into the first part of that left-hander to bring them back to this final climb at just over 500 metres. This climb takes them over the top and then into the stadium, and Bjorgen's given herself a bit of space here, and look at that recovery from Stina Nilsson. That's an athlete that has been on the floor, and she's up and into third position. Unbelievable from the Swede. Bjorgen, tactically very sound as always, just moves herself gently past Marvaletto, who's in second. And Nilsson lining up Marvaletto. Well, that's confidence from the Finn. And it's Bjorgen's ski that gets caught now. Those lines very deliberately apart to give the skiers plenty of space to move across into their attack zones. And Stina Nilsson, well, I said her form was good. I said how impressed we've all been with her this year. It really has been a pleasure to watch her racing. And now, from a fall, both she and Bjorgen absolutely demolishing this field. Huge double poling work from both athletes, so powerful. Bjorgen 18.17, so not far off that glide speed that we saw from her compatriot Jetnes in the first quarter-final. And now just a confident skate round, but Bjorgen's made a mistake there, drifted very wide on that turn. Now these two will want to stay very clear of each other on this climb. Stina Nilsson won't want to have what happened to her first time around. Both safely over the top and negotiated. And Bjorgen will make her way through to a place in the semi-final. Stina Nilsson just with a check over the shoulder. She needs to preserve every bit of energy she can. She's expended a lot in this one. And the winning time of 2:49.91 in the last heat is not surpassed. So that does put the lucky losers in a better position. But Bjorgen and Nilsson go through. We'll have to wait and see from the other times, but certainly on that initial indication, it looks like Dahlqvist may be well placed. Well, this is where Nilsson fell on the first climb. And I'm not sure whether she actually caught him. No, it's herself. She's tripping herself up. Such a highly technical element to classic racing. Those skis passing each other within fractions. And that's where Bjorgen nearly came a cropper. That was a very wide skid from her in that last left-hander. But in the end, comfortably across the line. So Bjorgen through to the semi-finals, followed by Stina Nilsson. Nilsson with that fall, remember, we didn't see the best of her in that heat. I think she'd have been on for a big challenge there. Confirmation then of that result in quarter-final number 2. Third quarter-final of 5 and more stars featuring number 5 Natalia Matvieva, number 6 is the woman in the red shirt, the sprint leader Ingrid Fludsklag Østberg of Norway. Then it's Gaia Vjurich in bib 15. There's Matvieva. Jenny Öberg of Sweden in 16. Van der Graaf of Switzerland. She's had some good racing recently, bib 25. And Stephanie Böhler in 26. But there's your sprint leader. A woman that plays a lot of soccer throughout the summer, but coaches have asked her to curtail that. She really was right at the top of her game in that sport as well. And not the only cross-country racer that plays a lot of women's soccer. It seems to be a very popular, if slightly dangerous pastime. for these world-class athletes. And there's that slightly staggered start with the chevrons, the top seed getting the benefit of that, and as we often see from the sprint leader, Oestersund, a real push to the start, and there's a faller. That's bib 13. Was it 16? My apologies, didn't quite see the number there. I'll bring you up to date with that as soon as I can. No, 16 is still going, Oestersund, and it was bib 15. So Gaia Vjuric of Italy falling at the back. Not sure she's going to recover from that. So Oestersund taking it out and looking nice and comfortable. Natalia Matvieva also had some good racing under her belt this year, moving into second place. And Oestersund settling in behind her in third. And just off the back of them, looks like 25 Van der Graaf. Van der Graaf showing, yes, it is Van der Graaf, showing good speed in some of the earlier elements of sprint racing. Has run out of gas on a couple of occasions having got to the final. But that's where she'll want to be. Listen to the roar of that crowd as they come over the hill and start to head back towards the stadium. Really has been a special atmosphere today. So first time around, rather than bear right to the cheering hordes, they go left back onto that steep climb. And good control of the race here. Nice race management from Oestersund. 2:56.8 was her qualification time. The fastest qualification time came from Jetnes, who went in heat 1, 2:47 dead. Couldn't quite match that in the quarterfinal. But Oestersund taking it away from everybody now. And Oestersund is going to have to line up Matvieva for an attack if she wants to get something from this race. One sub 250, one just over 250, but very close in terms of timings. A real tactical side to the race, a lot of all-out power to get positioned and then stay there, and a big stumble from Matvieva, but unfortunately Oestersund couldn't make use of that. She too went very wide. The last climb over the ridge, then that little dip down, then back over the next little hump and into the stadium, and she'll have clear side of the line as she double poles over that. And Oestersund being given a bit of a run for her money here, but she's going to be safely home in first place. Oestersund is just going to have to go for the time because Matvieva has managed to get that second place, and well, it's another time that will be close. We'll have to wait and see. That pulsating green block on Oestersund means that she's in the decision for one of the lucky losers, but it's Oestersund and Matvieva that cancel out any requirement for a revisit to that. They go through top two by right, and there's the unfortunate faller in Gaia Vjuric on that first climb for Italy. So second faller, Nilsson and Vjuric have both fallen in their quarterfinals. That's why the racing here on this course in Oestersund is so exciting. Well, she's looked good all season. That's why she's wearing the red bib as the sprint leader. Oestersund with 2 wins so far this season, and she'll be looking for another one today, but 2:56.6 her leading time. So the crowd have been here in full force all day. They've watched the qualifications right from the start. We saw some good racing there, some fast times. Now into the straight knockout phase of the competition. Quarter-final number 4 features another Norwegian star in Maiken Kaspersen-Faller. He's had good results in the past in this discipline, and we'll be looking for something big today. Second fastest time in qualification at 2:49.03. Number 9 bib of Astrid Jakobsen, one of 2 Norwegians in this fourth quarter. And basically we get to meet the top seeds in each of the races, which get the middle lane on that staggered chevron. Mikey Kaspersen-Faller, courtesy of her time, comes through into this heat as the second seed. So takes up centre position alongside Magdalena Pajala in 12 for Sweden. Katja Visnar, she can race, the Slovenian in the number 19 bib nearest the camera. And Prokashkova of Slovakia, 22. Francesca Baudin of France, bib 29. Away they go. Little tentative, I thought, there from Pajala, but she's into her work now. Nice and solid from Faller. Now this is where we've seen the falls today, and hopefully they all get up cleanly. Yes, they do. A little bit more circumspect from the athletes this time around. Visnar moving herself into a handy second position. And a big push from Jakobsen, bib 9. A little bit sluggish away from the start. Francesca Baudin has decided that if she can stay with Jakobsen, that's a good option. But for the moment, Maiken Faller comfortably away. Visnar tucking in behind her. And then the rangy Swede, Pajala, in third, but with some distance to make up. That corner, I'm sure, will give us some thrills and probably some spills as we move through to semis and finals, when people have to gamble towards the end of the race. Pajala with a good climb there, using those long limbs to good effect, but still can't get back on level terms with Katja Visnar, the distinctive ski suit of the Slovenians. What a crowd, what a fantastic view, and how good must that feel to climb through the middle of the crowd. That's the way this course is built, right through the heart of the grandstand. And it works very well. But how good does Faller look in this race? Visnar just tiring a bit as Jakobsen tracks her down. Pajala having no luck getting back in touch with Visnar, and Baudin having to give up the chase as Jakobsen overpowers everybody to move into second position, so takes over to make it Norway 1 and 2. Another nice settled glide. I think this is a really good ski from Maiken Kaspersen, not just because of the distance that she's moved away, but she's totally managed this race. And she's not taking any sort of heat off. Oh, nearly a fall. Well, she was pushing it hard around that corner, and the legs just getting a little fragile towards the end. Clash of skis there slowed Jakobsen's progress, but she's blocking Visnar's drive for the line. Faller's going to bring this one home. Jakobsen has got the lane all to herself as well, so Visnar has had to move across, and she nearly goes. And that's the result in quarter-final 4. Faller gets it from Jakobsen, 2:49.4. That's the fastest time we've seen in the quarters so far, and that includes that little stumble from Faller. Just when you didn't need it, you want that momentum going into the climb, and she would have had to have generated all of that herself coming up that final steep section. A couple of athletes a little sluggish away from the start. Jakobsen, certainly the worst offender, but my goodness me, didn't she power through halfway point of the second lap. But the race dictated completely by Faller, and she's got a good time out of it as well, which may benefit Pajala and Visnar. They were involved in a really good sprint to the line. Pajala 3.28 seconds down on Faller's time. Don't think Visnar's going to get anything from today. Well, it's always good to see athletes pushing hard. Francesca Baudin of Italy with that drive for the line. Didn't quite work for her though. Well, that's your two guaranteed qualifiers. Green lights on for Faller and Jakobsen. Quarter-final number 5 about to get underway for the women. Just to confirm, Therese Johaug is out for Norway, despite the fact Norway are really packing the semi-final out, and that won't help her in her second place challenge to Bjørgen at the top of the overall standings. I'm sure at the moment the tensions are all turning towards the World Championships just around the corner, in more ways than one, in Falun. So Hannah Falk, bib 28 for quarter-final number 5. Bib 18 is Perianne Jones of Canada. Bib number 8, Ida Ingmarsdotter of Sweden. Swedish fans getting right behind their athletes. They think she is maybe the way forward in this quarter-final, but not the fastest in qualification. That honour belongs to this lady, Celine Brunli of Norway, bib number 3. So Brunli in bib 3, Ingmarsdotter in bib 8, Ringwald of Germany in 13, Jones of Canada in 18, Nordström of Sweden 23, and Falk of Sweden 28. So I think the Swedes just getting a run out there from the TV director to keep home viewers happy. 3 opportunities for Sweden to progress more athletes into the semi-final stage. There we go. Look at the power contained around that core. Fabulous stuff from Brunli. But certainly Ingmarsdotter not letting her having it all her own way, and a stumble from Brunli hasn't helped. A lot of these athletes really struggling on the tight climb through the stadium. Brunli recovers her composure, but Ingmarsdotter comes back at her. Bib 8, Ingmarsdotter, just marginally second position behind Brunli, who skied 2:49.36 for the third fastest qualification time this morning. Very comfortable through that first section. Now round onto the last big turn. 2 loops of 634 metres if you've just joined us, to make up the 1.2 kilometre track. And 2 very distinct climbing sections, one away from the start and one going into the finish. That's the finish climb. Then they'll pop over the top of that. And instead of veering right, they'll stay on the left-hand side of the track to head up into this climb away from the start area. Ingmarsdotter, good confident move there to her right, roared on by this crowd. This is the closest contact apart from the finish line that you have with the crowd here in Oestersund, and they are roaring her on. Good effort from Ringwald, the German, in 3rd position. Not sure this heat is going to be quick enough though for a lucky loser. That'll be confirmed when we head into the semi-final lineup. Much more comfortable now for Brunli. Now, Ingmarsdotter. Will that final cheer from the crowd be enough? Looks to be out of gas here, but second position, just take it. Go through to the semis, keep it tidy, keep it clean. And don't let Ringwald hunt her down. I think that has to be the recipe, but she's not going to give it up without a fight here, Ringwald. That's a really good piece of work. She turned nicely, she's climbed well. And Ingmarsdotter has gone, out of the range of the camera. She fell, Ringwald got past her, but that's actually going to benefit number 28, Hannah Falk. Hannah Falk up against Ringwald for that second place. It's going to be tight to the line, and Falk has got it. The crowd cheering her on, and because of the slowness of that heat, that means Ringwald and Ingmarsdotter will be out. Ingmarsdotter did look tired on that second loop. Brunli wins it in 2:51.6. And a faller, I'm sure, getting in the way of Ringwald. Just out of the range of the cameras, but what a time for that to happen. And there she goes, tripped herself up, I'm afraid. Ringwald blocked. Good avoidance manoeuvre, but look how Falk responded. Oh my goodness me, she absolutely leapt into that double pole and got herself down the hill, got some momentum, and got second place behind Brunli. That's the quarterfinals for the women concluded. Welcome back to Oestersund. Goodness me, just about time to get our breath back before the men's quarterfinals get underway. Really enjoyable racing for the women. We'll confirm all those semi-final lineups as we get there. But time now for the men to take over. Timo-André Bakken goes bib 1, fastest qualification time today, and said he absolutely loved the atmosphere here. 2:28.25. So the afterburners turned on by Timo-André. Johan Idin. So Idin in bib 20, getting the full response from this vociferous Swedish crowd. But let's be honest, they've been very, very kind across the board to the athletes. Gave Marit Bjorgen a fantastic ovation when she came to the line. Overall leader, Martin Jonsrud Sundby, but it's Federico Pellegrino that leads the sprint standings at the moment. His work cut out today to hang on to that. But he goes in quarter-final number 3. So first of 5 quarter-finals away for the men. Bib 1 is Bakken, bib 10 is Panzinski of Russia, bib 11 is Pensinen of Finland, and we've got 20 Idin of Sweden, 21 Chobotko of Kazakhstan, and 30 Rastelli of Italy. Chobotko doing well, manoeuvring himself into second position. At the moment, no real show from Bakken. Keeping his powder dry in third place. But he's going to have to make a move at some time. Once you get onto that second lap, there's not a lot of room to get by, and that's the ideal overtaking manoeuvre. Very well done from Timo-André Bakken, made it look simple as well. And he's taken bib 10, Panzinski of Russia, with him, which means that Chobotko gets dumped from second into third. The cheers, I can tell you, are for Johan Idin of Sweden. And they've driven him into second place. Oh, a little bit of fisticuffs there between he and Panzinski. The Russian driven back into third position. And after that, Idin, who's a big unit, he's going to have to look to hold his place here. This is what the sprinters are supposed to look like. Big, tall, powerful guys, big chests. And that's your ideal sprinting frame. So last little chance to relax on the glide. Coming into this last left-hander. Stumble from Bakken, but he's okay. Beautifully skied by Panzinski to keep himself in with a shout, but he's had to move a long way ahead of the climb, and that's been very cleverly closed off by Johan Idin. He knows how to race, this guy, and so does Bakken. Bakken's going to take this one home. Idin should hang on to second place, and take a look at the time. That is fast. Wow. 2:28.5, just 0.25 slower, Bakken, than his qualification time. He's flying today. So good ski from the big Norwegian. Took his time though, didn't it? That was a slightly worrying start, I think. But once he got his bit of space, made that room count, and just a little bit naive from Chobotko. Not making any attempt to close that outside line down. Not that he's able to go in front of him, but certainly be aware of where the attack is coming from. That's what Idin was aware of later on in the race when Panzinski tried to get past him after the last left-hander. But good race management from Bakken. 2:28.53 is actually the revised confirmed time. Idin 0.8 down on that. Panzinski 1.21 behind that. That might play out well for the Russian. And there's the confirmation of those results. And Pensinen actually didn't start. I think I read his name out at the start, but didn't come away. Just 5 men in that race. Looks like we've got a full start line for the second quarter-final. Emil Jönsson goes in bib 4. So his qualification time not that far behind, back in at 2:28.61. He was the 4th fastest. Jonsson, bib 14 is Paul Tarian Owen of Norway. Bib 7, Thomas Northug. Bib, there he is, without the hat today. Bib 17, Andrew Newell of the USA. Bib 24, Finn Hågen Krogh of Norway. And bib 27 is Sami Yahoyavi. There's Jonsson. Again, this great response. It's what these guys compete for, these moments, these responses from the crowd. You think about the hours and hours of lonely physical training, some done completely in isolation, and you do lose touch with how the public feel about you. But Jonsson will know exactly what they feel about him when he gets to the first climb between the cauldron of these crowd hills either side. And that looked like a very good start to me from Newell. So Newell punching very nicely above his weight at the start of this one, but a good solid high technique in that climb from Northug. Northug tucks into the nearest set of tracks. Newell hanging on to it. He's going to have to watch out for Krogh on his inside. You know just how fast Krogh can be when he gets a line. And slightly frustratingly here for the Swedish fans and for Jonsson, being skied out of this into 4th. He did make a bid on the near side. That's a nice turn from him, but at the moment hasn't produced anything. And Newell's giving it the full treatment, and Jonsson has gone. Oh, he's completely gone. Well, I just wonder if that response to the crowd had something to do with that little externalisation at a very important time just prior to the race, when really you've got to be keeping it inside and focusing, but that could be an injury. Let's hope that's not serious for Jonsson. And some of the crowd won't be aware that that's happened at the back of the field. Northug hanging on to first position. And Andrew Newell still giving a really good account of himself, the American, skiing nicely alongside Northug. And that's the way to block off a challenge. Ski alongside the guy in front of you or as close to it, and he's giving it up. Oh, that's brilliant work from Krogh. Just timed that to perfection on the crest of the turn. Northug wincing. No glasses, no hat into this chilly breeze in Oestersund as he comes down the hill for the final left-hander. And these three now away and comfortable. And Newell is running out of steam. Current lucky losers, there you go. 2:29.7 for Panzinski, 2:30.9 for Chibotko. So both coming from that first heat, obviously. Can anyone get past that? It's going to be the win. And a very good win for Krogh. Talk about timing. Northug comes across the line in second, and a gassed Newell. Just not enough in the tank there. 2:30.9. So he'll be hovering around a similar time to Chibotko. Well, making that look very comfortable in the end, Krogh, and that does not look good ahead of Falun for Emil Jonsson. Let's hope that that is maybe just a little bit of a cramp up. Now, as he comes to this climb, he's come off a very good turn, sets himself up, takes the trip. Well, to be fair to him, he did trail his right leg all the way through that, and it doesn't look that comfortable for him, does he? Well, let's hope that's not an Achilles or a strained calf, but Jonsson is out. So Krogh, great performance, looked really solid there and managed that race well, but the real concern is for Emil Jonsson, and we wish him well. Let's hope that that is just a tweak and he'll be okay for Falun. Krogh and Northug in a dramatic race are through. Talk about saving your best until it really matters. Emil Jonsson, I'm afraid, injured and out of that last race. Not the only guy to take a stumble, but he didn't get back up, and that's the worrying sign for the Swedish coaching staff and the fans ahead of the World Championships in Falun. But in terms of a good time, 2:27.08 from Krog. That was a magnificent second lap from the Norwegian. He wins it ahead of Northug as we see a very sad sight indeed. Emil Jonsson being carried away from the course. Well, the way he's puffing and blowing the cheeks out there, that would suggest he's in a fair amount of pain. So on to our third quarter-final, featuring the man who currently leads the sprint standings, Italy's Federico Pellegrino. Not as comfortable in Classic, as that was borne out by his time this morning at 2:30.45. Mathias Strandvall, the fastest man alongside Paul Goldberg in this race. There is Strandvall, bib 5, 2:28.62 in qualification. Paul Goldberg 6, 2:28.78. But the fastest time today set in the last quarter final at 2:27.08 by Finn Hagen Krog, who had to come from 4th position to make it. There is our sprint World Cup leader, Pellegrino. Going to be hard pressed, I think, to hang on to things after today, especially if Krog keeps going as well as he is. He's in 2nd place, 32 points down on Pellegrino. So Pellegrino, at the very least, I would say, has to make semi-finals. Look at him skip up that hill. Slightly unusual build for a sprinter, not as tall as some of the others, but he makes it work for him. 4th position at the moment, though. This race being led out by bib 16, Olgevigen Hatterstad, who's also had fabulous time of it in sprinting over the years, and Classic in particular. So Strandvall in 5, Goldberg 6, Pellegrino 15, Hatterstad 16, Gilai 25 for Finland, Alex Harvey for Canada 26. Hatterstad at the moment away from Strandvall. Pellegrino, oh, expansive start from him, and he leaps over the hill. Quite brilliant from the World Cup sprint leader. He knows how important the result is here today. With the form that Krog has just exhibited in quarter-final 2, he cannot afford to miss out on qualification for the semis at least. And a stumble, that's going to cost Strandvall. Certainly cost him a place. Pellegrino will be thankful for that. But here comes 6, Paul Goldberg. Not going to be left out of it. Moves himself past Strandvall. Back down this last descent as we head into the left-hander, which takes us to the last climb before the stadium. Pellegrino danced up the previous climb, but he's been sandwiched here a little bit. He's got to be careful, Pellegrino. Got to hold that inside line, and he's got to hit now. He's got to attack Pellegrino off that turn, which he's done. Oh, and a faller! And it's 2 fallers. Dramatic stuff in this third quarter-final. Out goes Paul Goldberg, tripped over by Hatterstad, the original faller, and it's all played into Pellegrino's hands. Pellegrino is going to sail across the line, and Alex Harvey of Canada is in 2nd position. He's going to make the semi-finals, courtesy of some real drama. That is fast from Pellegrino. 2:27.3. Just think how quick that was going to be if both Goldberg and Hatterstad had managed to stay upright. Well, Classic does produce the thrills and spills, no doubt about it. And that was one heck of a dust-up. Hatterstad went in a puff of snow and was prostrate on the track. There was just nothing that Goldberg could do about it. Skied straight into the back end of his skis and off and out the side door on this track, and that's as dramatic as you'll see in classic cross-country sprinting. And two rather disconsolate skiers cross the line, but that really does open it up. Pellegrino and Harvey, the beneficiaries. This is how it happened. So Pellegrino we were watching because he had to go, and that's just a straight fall. There was just nowhere for Goldberg to go. Tried to actually get down the bank and around, but it was never going to happen. Pellegrino and Harvey ghosting through. The most encouraging part about that for Pellegrino was his time. 2:27.34 is excellent. That's a time that could put him in the final, and those are valuable points that he will need today because Krog looks ominous. But as we've seen, anything can happen. Quarter-final four for the men. Tony Kettele of Finland in bib 2, Erik Bransdal in bib 9, Simeon Hamilton in bib 12 for the USA. Guys in the middle, the higher seeds, the faster times, but it's Kettele of Finland, 2:28.47, second fastest in qualification. And Bransdal just behind him. There is the fastest man from qualification into this heat, Kettele. And to finish off our other three in this six-man race, Nikita Kryakov of Russia, bib 19. Bib 22 is Jovian Heidegger of Switzerland, and bib 29 is Richard Jouvet of France. I don't think Jouvet or Heidegger and Kryakov can really live with the pace here. They were quite a lot slower in qualification, but determined to put something down at the start. Going into that little scuttling style up the hill. That is very well done by Jovian Heidegger. The technicians having to take evasive action. Not sure what they were doing in the tunnel at a very critical time in the race. Moving though into the lead. Richard Jouvet. Now, his time in qualification would suggest that he's not going to be able to keep that going. So tucked in behind him, Kettele and Bransdal, the two form athletes in this particular heat. If you go just on timings from qualification, oh, it's a faller again. Well, that could have been Juve in the black ski suit. Still up and going. Hamilton in third. I think it was Juve of France that is fallen. Kettele in second position. Oh, my apologies, it is Juve out in front. So today, as soon as we know that, maybe Jovian Heidegger then in that case. Juve leads. Slightly forced style up the hill from Kettele, but just about effective. Hamilton has used his guile to get into second place, and now looking good. Erik Bransdal moves himself quite comfortably into third. Kettele, to me, looks like he's got a problem. Looking pretty tired, the Finn in fourth place. And to answer my earlier question, Juve, can he keep going? At the moment, yes. Gets into a real racing tuck there, just trying to get something back into the legs. Look at that. That's what you call a rest before the finish. Good ski, good tight line from Juve. Hamilton positioning himself well. Bransdal's going to have to take the outside line. He's mighty tight to the side of that course, is Hamilton. Oh, and there's the trip. Bransdal gets himself back across. Juve falls, followed by Kryakov. And once again, the race is handed to the two men who are going to finish 1 and 2. And Bransdal is determined that he's going to take one. He's going to race Hamilton to the line for this one. And he'll get the better draw in the semi-final. Slow race as well. Bransdal 2:31.8, Hamilton 2:32. And fallers left, right and centre. My apologies, it was Heidegger that fell, but Juve did eventually go down. I hope that wasn't a commentator's curse. Wow, Bransdal, yeah, exactly, that hand gesture says it all. He skated mighty, mighty close to the edge of the course, realised that he was running out of room, and there was a minor adjustment from him. It was enough to do for Juve. But as Juve will tell you, if he'd been going that little bit quicker up that climb, he wouldn't have got in that trouble. It's a ski pole issue. My apologies again. Well, talk about having a bad time of it. Poor old Heidegger, losing a ski pole, losing his skis. Down and out, I'm afraid, for the Swiss. So 4 quarterfinals down. Here's the Juve fall. Here's how tight Bransdal got, and then, yeah, just got his skis caught round the back of Bransdal. It is the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid, in some of these tight sections of the race. And then Bransdal powering past Hamilton. But Hamilton and Harvey through for North America, USA and Canada respectively. Good results for them, placing the semi-finals in a classic sprint. Bransdal the winner, though. Confirmation of what was a very slow heat in the end. Bransdal looks like he's been disqualified from that race then. Well, that was to be confirmed. He did look a little bit tight as he came up that climb. So he's out, and the beneficiary was actually Ketterle and Hamilton. If that graphic is correct, we'll confirm that when we get to the semi-finals. Hamilton and Ketterle through, Bransdal out of the race. Wow. The drama continues, and I'm sure it'll continue into this one. 5th and final quarter. Kalle Halvorsen, bib 8. Getting the full treatment from the crowd. We've got the 3rd fastest qualifier in Sondre Torvely-Fosli. Torvely-Fosli in 2:28.48 this morning to qualify. He's in bib 3, Halvorsen in bib 8, Hakola in bib 13 for Finland, and Valjas in bib 18 for Canada. Norway and Nilsson bib 23, and Gafarov of Russia bib 28. Away we go. It's this climb that has generally done the damage. That's where we've seen the most fallers. And a good bit of hard work going up the hill from Fosli. Fosli keeping himself out of trouble. Hakola going the hard route round the outside of Gafarov. Hakola cleverly putting himself into 2nd position. And rather unusually for the classic racing here in Oestersund, no fallers yet. Keep your fingers crossed. No fallers, that is. We want to see a good clean race here. Fosli comfortably in the lead. Very tricky turn to make that one. Will work with the outside right ski. And for some athletes that won't feel like a good turn. Hakola working hard to hang on to his 2nd position from Gafarov, but bib 23 Vegard Bjerkam Nielsen just trying to move himself into position. Has the inside set of tracks there. Well, he crossed over, did Hakola. I thought it was a good move from him, but he's crossed back again. Well, that's just opened the door. We're at Nielsen, and Nielsen now going like an absolute steam train. He's taking Halvorsen with him, sort of. Halvorsen still pushing hard to get past Hakola, which he should do at the next turn. But Halvorsen has got a lot of work to do off the back of the left-hander into the climb. The 2 Norwegians, Fosli and Nielsen, settle in at 1 and 2. They know what's coming. Down the slope. Keep it tight as you can to the turn, but you don't want to bleed any momentum out of the skis. It's okay to come wide out of that last section because you're hitting the climb with a bit of pace. It's okay to be on the outside. And that's good work from Fosli and Nielsen effectively shutting Halvorsen out, and he's gone. Another faller for Sweden today. And Nielsen followed by Halvorsen down. So Fosli followed by compatriot Nielsen, crossing the line. 2:27.1. That was a quick race. These races getting faster and faster, and once again, I'm sure you're the same at home, but you just marvel at the physical capability of these athletes. Sensational work, and they go off the track, get all the kit checked out, and then come back and do it all again in the semi-finals. And if the racing in the quarters is anything to go by, we are in for some serious drama. Yet another faller. This time Halvorsen, as he got to the top of the hill, he was just trying so hard to force it along, and when the legs are that tired, that fine motor control starts to desert you. Easy to cross the skis. Firstly then, from Nielsen, in a very fast time. And we have got some real speedsters through to the semi-finals of the men's. And Halvorsen can't believe it's happened in front of the home crowd. It's not been great racing, I have to say, for Sweden so far here in Oestersund. But Norway, despite some fallers, once again packing out the semis. So Fosli and Nielsen through. That's the quarter-finals done. We'll have more to come after the break. Welcome back to Oestersund as we head into the semi-final stage. Stina Nielsen goes bib 14 in semi-final number 1 for the women. Also included in this race is Heidi Weng, bib 20. The speedster today from Norway also is Kari Vikagen Sjednes, but not quite as fast a time in her quarter-final, so it's cost her a bit of space. And then right in the middle, Marit Bjørgen, current leader on the overall standings and benefiting from Therese Johaug not making it through from her quarter-final. And away we go. So Sjednes in 1, Østberg in 6, Bjørgen in 7, Nielsen bib 14, Weng bib 20, Dahlqvist bib 10. And roared up the first climb where we've had so much of the drama. Again, Nielsen just not looking as comfortable at close quarters, but at least this time she's got a better ski. She fell in her quarter-final and still came through in second position. Lucky loser in this one is Maja Dahlqvist. And this is all good at the moment from Sjednes. That's a really good ski from her. Puts herself out in front spot ahead of Weng. Bjørgen is in 4th position. So the Norwegians at the moment just being kept apart by Stina Nielsen. And Østberg, the sprint champ, or the sprint leader on the World Cup standings at the moment, in 2nd position, all trailing out behind Sjednes. And she's looking very good. Bjørgen can't seem to get back at Stina Nielsen at the moment. She's going to have to rely on her racing guile to try and fashion something for a place in the final. 2 winners, 2 lucky losers will make our 6 for the final. And this one is really spreading out quite dramatically. Sjednes from Østberg. Østberg just stumbling to keep ahead of Bjørgen. Bjørgen has managed to construct some sort of overtaking manoeuvre on Nielsen to get past into 3rd position. So the sprint leader just ahead of the overall leader in 3rd. Sjednes looks like she's going to get this automatic qualification. So Bjørgen, unless she can get away past what has been an immovable object in the sprints this year, Østberg, she's going to have to wait and see if she's good enough to be a lucky loser. It's going to be a fast heat. There's no way that Sjednes and Østberg were going to let this one be slow as Nielsen attacks again. Good attack from the Swede coming up the hill. Sweden needs something from today, and they probably need it from Stina Nilsson, but that's a stumble from tired legs. Jetnes comes through, takes that inside line right next to the grandstand. She's going to power this across the line for a place in the final. Østberg is going to hang on to second, as she knows. Great move from Bjørgen. Oh, incredible racing from the veteran. Is there nothing this woman can't do? That's just amazing. And once again, Marit Bjørgen finds something at the line and so nearly robbed Østberg of that second position. Well, very quiet amongst the Norwegian athletes down there in the finish area. That was one heck of a race, and Jetnes was very quick. 2:46.48. Now that, I'm sure, will benefit Bjørgen, because she was only 1.24 seconds behind the leader. So that still represents a good time. But Østberg can count herself lucky there. The final split, 0.14 of a second after that lunge from Bjørgen. And maybe that's where Bjørgen just cost herself. Nearly a collision with Østberg coming into that climb. Then Nilsson looked like she was going to get her. She stumbled at the top of the climb and fell away. So Sweden lose one of their stars. Not been a good day for them. Jonsson injured in his quarter-final, looked like an Achilles or a calf problem. And there's the lunge for the line. Bjørgen making Østberg earn that one. But from Bjørgen's point of view, she knows that as fast as you can go will benefit you. So qualified through for definite. Jetnes and Østberg waiting to see on the lucky loser times from the next semi-final. Marit Bjørgen and Stina Nilsson. Or will all four remaining athletes come from this heat? If they do, they're going to have to ski very quickly indeed. Maiken Kaspersen Faller then in 2, bib 2 that is. Then Celine Brun-Lee, bib 3. Lucky loser from Russia, Natalia Matvieva. Is at bib 5, Jenny Øberg. Home fans cheering her on, bib 16. They've got 2 representatives in this one, in Hannah Falk as well, bib 28. And that's Astrid Jacobsen, one of 3 Norwegian athletes, making 7 in total. Heidi Weng incidentally skied well out of it in that last quarter-final. There's Brun-Lee alongside Faller, coming through as the fastest racers in this one. Faller just got herself in a bit of trouble in the last race. Ran out of steam on a little stumble at the bottom of the left-hander before the climb to the finish. And I think that cost her a little bit of energy. That's energy she will not want to have expend at that point in time. So Matvieva followed by Hannah Falk, who has that inside line, and consequently on this chevron start, you think of an arrowhead, the top seeds, the fastest seeds, get the clear snow at the top, and then just staggered back in 50 centimetre gradients. You go to the slightly slower athletes. Away we go. Faller, bib 2. Brun-Lee, bib 3. Matvieva, bib 5. Jacobsen, bib 9. Falk, bib 28. Øberg, bib 16. Sweden with 2 chances in this race, but both athletes at the back heading into this climb. Trying to improve her position is Øberg, and doing it successfully. Jenny working hard, but can only claim 3rd place as the door is closed by Faller and Brun-Lee working side by side. At this point in the race, you can't guarantee 1st and 2nd, so you have to keep the pace up. You have to try and make it a fast race if you can. Faller from Brun-Lee, just watching each other very, very carefully. And a bit of a speed check there from number 16, Jenny Øberg, in 3rd place. Nearly didn't control that turn, went very wide, but not able to take that momentum into the climb, unfortunately. Much better ski round the turn from Natalia Matvieva. Number 5, the Russian, moves into 3rd place as Faller moves clear of Brun-Lee. Brun-Lee will settle into the tracks just behind her. No need to do anything dramatic just yet. Ski this out through the finishing area and then back into the climb. One more time away from the start. Beautiful rhythm to that climb from Maiken Kaspersen-Faller. Brunli at the moment content just to sit in behind her compatriot. Matvieva still has clear snow, but she's got to go the long way round. A little crossover on the tracks means the door at the moment is closed on Matvieva. A little bit of chess going on between the Norwegians here at the moment, and preserving that 1-2 position very comfortably. Faller from Brunli. And that's just changed on the descent. So Faller just going a little wide. Brunli following on the same line, but that keeps speed in the skis coming into the climb. Faller gets into her climb technique first. And this is a great piece of work from Jakobsen. Jakobsen overpowers Matvieva to move into third. So it's Norway 1-2-3 as we head for the line. Faller at the moment has the lead. Jakobsen has moved wide of Brunli, and Brunli is struggling because she's got nowhere to go in this one. And if Jakobsen can pick up the pace, she can get it. But brilliant bit of slipstreaming from Brunli. Sits in behind Faller, but that's a slow heat. I think our lucky losers are going to come from the other side of the draw, which is very good news for Marit Bjorgen and even better news for this Swedish crowd and Stina Nielsen. We'll confirm that when we come back from the break and see the women's final lineup, but certainly through Faller and Brunli. Jakobsen just missing out, having made herself the space that she needed to attack. And that concludes the women's semis here in Oestersund. We'll take a short break there. Men's coming up. Welcome back to Oestersund. Fantastic racing so far. Confirmation of how things are going to line up in the finals. Jetnes, Faller, Brunli all through along with Østberg. Bjorgen and Nielsen do indeed benefit from the lucky loser rule and that very fast time in that opening semi-final. Time then for men's semis, and it's the leader at the moment in the sprint standings in Pellegrino. That goes out in this first one. Timo Andre Bakken, how quick was he in his quarterfinals? Fantastic engine on him today. Bakken hovering, waiting, then attacking, and doing it quite beautifully. Finn Hågen Krogh. I think this is the danger man today. Krogh super quick and in second position behind Pellegrino by some 32 points in the sprint standings. So interesting that he finds himself alongside Pellegrino in the race. Thomas Northug in bib 7 as we get ready to get this one underway. And away we go. Pellegrino determined to make a good fist of this one. Pellegrino bib 15, Bakken bib 1, Krogh bib 24, Northug bib 7, Edin bib 20, being roared on by this crowd. The big man from Sweden, and Panzinski is number 10. Benefit of the lucky loser rule. Look at this from Edin. That's a really good piece of work from him around the outside just to tuck in alongside Bakken. That's blocked Pellegrino off for the moment on this first 634-metre lap. Looks nice and settled, doesn't he, Bakken? And from Pellegrino's point of view, the view will not look good because that's a couple of big units he's got in front of him, and the only way that he can get past is to out-ski them, and that's what he's done on the tight line, but no real momentum to take into the hill. So the two men that went a little wider, Edin, number 20, and number 1, Bakken, get the benefit of the climb. Little stumble over the top from all three men. That's how desperate they are to get to the next part of the course, and a very good move from Krogh. He did this in the quarterfinals, Krogh. Stayed at the back on the first lap, then moved through on that first climb, and Bakken has got himself in a right pickle here. I think all of a sudden Bakken and Edin aware of that move from Krogh. Krogh flying, gone. Bakken in second position. Pellegrino fighting it out alongside Panzinski, determined to make the most of his lucky loser slot. Oh, Pellegrino's down! And the World Cup sprint leader has taken a big face-first tumble there. He's gone. His day is over. And he knows that the man who is chasing him on the sprint standings has moved into a very comfortable lead and has every chance of surpassing him, Krog. And in this sort of form, you wouldn't bet against Krog winning, because he's been skiing super quick since the quarterfinals. Bakken then climbing in second, working hard behind him is Panzinski, and Nortug trying to get himself into the reckoning. Nortug is going to give this a go, but surely third place is all he can get out of it. He's travelling really quickly, attacking Bakken all the way to the line, but Bakken's going to hang on to it. And a lunge from Panzinski alongside Nortug means that the Russian gets third. Nortug has to settle for fourth, but keep an eye on the time. 2:26.2 is quick. We might have a similar situation for the men's race here. Pellegrino acknowledges the crowd cheers. That's a really unfortunate situation for the man who might not be leading the World Cup sprint standings come the end of today. Semi-final, an absolute minimum from him, but he didn't need to fall here. Really did want a place in the final, especially with Krog flying. And down he goes. That's a big one as well. Well, sporting. How sporting was that? Pellegrino just hit the snow, ruined his day, and he moved his skis out of the way for the man behind him. That's top quality. Easy, wasn't it, for Krog in the end? 2.66 seconds ahead of Bakken. That is fast. Krog looking good. So, confirmation so far, Krog and Bakken through. Panzinski and Nortug will have to wait on the fastest loser situation from this second semi-final. A couple of tired athletes in here. Bransdal, bib 9, was, in the end, disqualified for blocking further off when he was skiing to the final part of the race in his quarter-final. So Bransdal would have been through, but he's out, benefiting from that. Hamilton and Ketele. Hamilton would have got through by right. Good ski from the American in second. So at the start line, Fossley is bib 3. Bib 26 is Alex Harvey of Canada. Did really well for his place, but again, the fallers just clearing the path for people to ski through. 23 is Vegard Nielsen of Norway. And then moving into our two fastest seed lanes. Bib 3 is Fossley. Just back from him, the American Simon Hamilton. You see how some of these racers prepare for the big ones. Keep their heads down and don't interact with the camera. Happy V-Day, Sophie. There we go. Not room for Valentines, even on that big chest. And Tony Ketele. He's at bib 2. I thought he looked tired towards the end of his quarter-final, but Bransdal being disqualified allowed him through. Matthias Stranval is bib 5. That's the right sign for today. Let's hope it's not a St. Valentine's Day massacre coming up, because we've seen plenty of crashes. And you just get the feeling there's more in the tank. So Hamilton and Fossley will lead it out from those middle lanes. But it's Fossley far superior. That is power personified. And scuttles into his climb. Brilliant change of pace and beautifully done. Rhythm marvellous from Sondre Torvald Fossley. So Fossley followed by Ketele. Ketele quickly overpowered by Nielsen. Nielsen doesn't want to get into the same situation that he had, having to rely on the lucky loser from the quarter-final. But Nielsen can't maintain it. Ketele powers quite comfortably back in front to take second position. No problems for Fossley at the head of the field at the moment. Good look around there, just to see who's doing what from Ketele. You'll notice Strandval in the picture. Inside line chosen by Nielsen for the climb this time, but Ketele with the form and going down. Look to be Hamilton. Yeah, Simeon Hamilton, the faller for the USA. So Fossley leads just ahead of Strandval. And now Ketele looking tired once again as Nielsen gets past him. I think this looks pretty good for Fossley and Nielsen, to be honest. Alex Harvey trying to give it a go, but struggling to find space, or is he? Oh, great work from Harvey as Fossley caught napping. And after a very solid start, Fossley has been caught out. And Strandval, who's kept his powder dry, the Finn, has manoeuvred himself into top spot for the moment. Down the hill to try and pick away round the left-hand turn and set up the finish. Strandval leads, Fossley in second. I don't think this is a fast heat. Lucky losers will be licking their lips from the first semi-final. Panzinski and Nortug are those men in question. 2:28, 2:29. And Fossley once again repositions himself after a fabulous climb from Alex Harvey. Alex Harvey's chosen the wrong lane, I think, here, and he's going to be in trouble. Can he hang on to second place? Yes, he can. Fossley then from Harvey, and Harvey is having a dream day, the Canadian. 27, 8 and 28 dead on the 2-minute mark for Fossley and Harvey. Now, does that mean Strandval is good enough to go through? It's going to be mighty tight. We'll get that graphic to confirm the final very shortly, but for now, guaranteed, it's Fossley and Harvey through. Unlucky fall from Hamilton, ruling him out of the race. Welcome back. Just confirmation of how things finished in the men's semi-final, and Strandval and Panzinski get lucky with the lucky loser tag. They're through to the final to join Harvey, Bakken, Krog and Fossley. 3 Norwegians, a Canadian, a Finn and a Russian going through to that final. The racing here today has been superb. Unbelievable drama from start to finish. And now let's hope we get something special here in the final. So, once again, Norway looking very, very strong, heading into the final positions. It's going to be interesting to see who can come away with the points here. Jetnes has been impressive, fastest woman in qualification, then just didn't look quite as comfortable when she came through in the quarter, but was good in the semi. She's always good, out at Bjørgen. Been so wonderful to watch her race across the whole plethora of cross-country skiing this year. Her tactical awareness, her nous, as you might call it, within the sprinting disciplines in particular, is something quite special. And the overall World Cup leader goes in the yellow bib, bib 7, but a tough lane draw for her. Not going to be easy at the start. I don't think she's going to try and pressure anybody. I think she may just settle in and see how things develop and find a space. Leader in the Sprint World Cup, Ingvild Flugstad Østberg. Yeah, she's got the red bib on. She should hold on to it, regardless of the result in this final. Moving down into lane 3 and bib 2, Maiken Kaspersen Faller. Not been as convinced by her racing today, but do not count her out of the picture. She's skiing quickly. It's just whether she can get the tactics right. Same applies to this woman. The further you go into a finals of a sprint, the less opportunity you have to really apply your speed to the equation. Tactics must come into it, and Kari Vikhagen-Jetnes is going to have to concentrate on that going bib 1. Celine Brun-Lee got herself in a little bit of a pickle in the semi, but got out of it nicely. She skis bib 3, and our under-23 World Cup leader, the fabulous Stina Nielsen. Talk about a scrap to stay involved with the sprint here today in Oestersund. She has scrapped it out big time, and the crowd here now desperate to see a result, but I think this is probably a step too far for Stina. We will see. Looking a little bit scrappy on some of the climbs in the semi-final, which is never good. when things are at such close quarters. Away we go then with the women's classic sprint final here in Oestersund, and driving it out, trying to dictate from the front is the bib number 2 of Maiken Kaspersen, Faller into the climb. Marit Bjørgen trying to match her and skiing quite beautifully. Stina Nielsen with no pressure on that inside lane manages to get herself into third, and Oestersund is in all sorts of bother. Oestersund nearly falling, tripping over her teammates, finally getting a clear line, but that's going to cost her dear. She's going to have to work so hard now to get back into this one. Coming down for the first time into the left-hander. Faller from Bjørgen, from Nielsen. Norway 1 and 2 ahead of Sweden, and Stina Nielsen is going to hear an almighty roar as she comes over this next climb. Beautiful bit of skiing. What a line from Nielsen, and the crowd enjoyed that one. Oh, that's classic from the Swede and from Bjørgen, and they've shut the door on Faller, who made a rickets of that left-hander. Now Bjørgen down onto the inside tracks. Beautiful dive to the inside line. Oestersund is going hell for leather now. It's incredible skiing from the leader on the Speed World Cup standing. She moves herself into third. Back comes Faller, another stumble from Oestersund. And now Jetnes starting to show. Oestersund, I think, has blown it. She's stumbled back down into 5th position again as Bjørgen takes over in top spot. This would be an unbelievable win for Marit Bjørgen. Oh, you can see mouth open and sucking the air in. They are working so hard in this final. Bjørgen is away. She's chosen now to go and dragging this field apart. Faller in second. Nielsen trying so desperately to hang on in third. But this will be hurting now. And Jetnes in fourth. Is she going to be able to make something happen? That sort of distance, though, off the leading 3 says no. And a very nice ski from Bjørgen, goes wide, cuts it back in tight. Again, Nielsen has done Faller on the turn. Can Faller get her back on the climb? Bjørgen, oh, that was a little bit of a stumble at the top. Bjørgen still in the lead as she comes off that last hill. It's going to be Marit Bjørgen here in Oestersund for yet another fabulous win to secure her position at the top of the overall standings, and the crowd roaring Nielsen on, but it looks like Faller is going to get the better of her for second position, and she does. Norway 1 and 2, and Stina Nielsen at least comes away with something for the home nation here in Oestersund. She picks up a fabulous 3rd position. But she's done it again. Is there nothing that Marit Bjørgen can't do this season? She has been imperious. She is featured just about every single weekend. And that bodes very, very well indeed for the World Championships in Falun. Stina Nielsen going to take the plaudits of the crowd just behind Bjørgen, and Faller, when she eventually recovers her composure, will head out down that finish area as well. This massive grandstand here in Oestersund, just giving the athletes a wonderful reception. It's created a real cauldron, almost gladiatorial feel to the finish of these sprints. And I'm delighted to say, not decided on a fall, decided on pure talent. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Faller led it away, pushed them really hard from the start, and it was Oestersund who just didn't cope with it. Little clash of skis with Jetnes. That was the first problem for Oestersund, and then she got herself in a real mess. Had to climb all the way back through the field. Looked like she'd done it, but in the end just couldn't find what she needed in the tank. Bjørgen played it clever, moved herself into a position where, coming off that downhill, you would have seen the grimace on her face, the work that she put in on the penultimate climb. That's when she decided to go, and that was the sprint for 2nd and 3rd. And in the end, the photo, Faller takes it with Nielsen in 3rd, but Marit Bjørgen maximum points, and in case you want to know, 2:46.82. That's fast as well. Good final, and a very good day's racing for the women. Bjørgen wins it from making Kaspersen Faller. Stina Nielsen claims a place on the podium for the home nation. Well, fascinating stuff here in Oestersund. A very good women's final. The lead changing hands on a number of occasions before Marit Bjørgen really imposed her influence on the race. And the under-23 World Cup leader will remain in that position with her turquoise bib on, alongside Marit Bjørgen in the middle. The overall World Cup leader benefits from maximum points, benefits from Therese Johaug being skied out of it in the quarter-finals. And making up that trio is Faller, making Kaspersen Faller just 1.8 seconds down. And hopefully we're going to be able to get to hear from Marit. Very impressive actually away from the start, Bjørgen, but as always kept her composure, didn't get involved in any silly stuff and made some incredible decisions. She really does make some superb decisions. This is the decision that won her the race though. This drive across the flat into the next downhill, double poling as hard as she could all the way, and that broke the field, which left her with no challenge whatsoever through to the line. That's how you want to win races. But that's the secret, isn't it, of the champions that we get to watch and enjoy here on Eurosport. They make it look easy.
All right, Marit,
they are the athletes that have the time. Let's hear from Marit.
In a couple of years. How have you been since the Tour de Ski?
It has been a great time, and for sure I've been looking forward to race again. I feel it's been a little bit a long time now, so it's great to be back and a good start before the world champion. And yeah, it was. I didn't like the course yesterday, but. You had some good luck today, and then I was in the front from the beginning, and yeah, and then I could use my speed, and yeah, it was good for me, and yeah, it's great and good feeling for a world champion.
I think once you win on a course, you have to say that you like it. So
yeah, of course I have to say, but I had some good luck today from the beginning in the final, and yeah, I was the first on the first climbing, and then I could use my speed, so it was good.
Congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you will see it. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
yeah, okay, good luck.
But you will see me in the race.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like it. Very well handled by Marit there. Didn't want anybody to think that she was claiming she'd be there on the winner's interview tomorrow. Wouldn't bet against it though. Very, very good work from her, and once again looks like very good planning from her and her Norwegian coaches to get the timing just right. The race time, the breaks in between the racing, and coming into Oestersund looking really quite fabulous, and that form looks to be ominous ahead of the World Championships. So from the women we move to the men's final. And yet again, more opportunities for drama. Pazinski and Strandval, the two men to benefit from the lucky loser situation. Krog and Bakken qualifying very, very fast indeed, along with Fossley and Hamilton. Men's final then just about to get underway here in Oestersund. Just a little delay before the athletes come to the start line. And we've had a really fascinating day's racing. And for anyone out there that was ever doubtful that the sprint format was going to be successful, well, this just underlines how good the Tour de Ski has been, how good the sprint format has been over the last few years. It really is something to enjoy. And the way the races are contained within one period of time, you go from your quarterfinals all the way through, you get to see the athletes progress, you get to see the whole story unfold, and boy have we had some stories today, and we may still have a story in this final. Alex Harvey has done very well to get himself through for Canada. Strandval and Pazinski, Finland and Russia through as the lucky losers, and then they'll be battling it against the Norwegians. Krog looks very, very quick today, it has to be said. He looks quick, he looks strong, and he looks like he's got a very good tactic for these races. He's not going off hard. He's just keeping himself out of trouble on the first lap and then finding a way on that the second time they do the climb away from the start. That's where Krog seems to be attacking, across the flats, into the climb, back into contention, and as he did in the semi-final, blow the rest of the field away. The scene is set then for what should be another cracker. Just about time to meet our athletes for this final. Going in lane 1 in bib number 5. Coming through as a lucky loser from Finland, Mattias Strandvall, courtesy of that super quick heat from Krog. 2:26.16 in semi-final 1. And that brought the third and fourth racers through. Timo Andre Bakken goes in bib 1. The big man is back, and he's going to need all of that size to try and block the way when the attacks come. Sure, he's going to be quick away from the start though, as will this man. Sondre Torvald Fossli for Norway, and making up that Norwegian triumvirate in bib 24, the favourite surely now for this race. Finn Hagen Krog, immense in semi-final 1. But don't look for him at the start, look for him halfway through this race. That's how he's raced all day. Maybe that's how he's going to apply the tactic to the final. Well done, Alex Harvey. Very good work from him. Canadian getting another place in a sprint final, and just underlining his international quality. And Alexander Panzinski, the second of our lucky losers, goes on the lane furthest away from the grandstand in bib 10. Right, if it plays out as it has done in previous races, then we're looking probably at Fossli and Bakken away fast, with Krog keeping his powder dry, but it's a different race from Krog. That is not what we've seen from him in previous races. He's decided to use that superior position at the start to his advantage, and the three Norwegians move into the first 3 spots with some ease. Now Krog just backing off, got himself safe, got himself away, and now settles in third position, with Bakken first, Fossli second, Krog third, and then just behind them Strandvall, Harvey and Panzinski. So into single file as they move through the first part of this opening lap, into that left-hander. Everybody, well, except actually Strandvall, taking that wide line, but the problem with the tight line is you bleed a lot of speed away from this climb, and Alex Harvey has benefited from the speed around the left-hander. He races up the hill, tries to dive his way into 4th position. Still Norway 1, 2 and 3 as Krog does what he has done on the previous races, emerges from that climb fast, double poling across the flats and into the next climb away from the start. Krog is flying once again. Who's going to go with him? Bakken trying, but looking like he's suffering. Fossli doesn't look too happy. It's Alex Harvey, the Canadian, that has come out of this the best. He looks the freshest and gets himself up onto the shoulder of Finn Hagen Krog. We are lining up for a big finish here. Harvey skips across the tracks, cleverly done to block off Bakken. Slipstreaming now on Krog. Harvey once again settles in. Wants to keep as much in the tank as he possibly can. How much has Bakken got left for an attack? Krog carefully around. He'll let this drift wide and then cut it in narrow. Harvey and he skiing that well. Side by side into the climb. Bakken trying to keep himself in the mix, but it's Krog that he's going to get the pick of the lanes as he comes down towards the finish area to sprint, but Harvey's lined up alongside him. Krog, who's been so superb through the quarters and the semis, applies the power now and just leaps across the line. Unbelievable work from him. Krog has won it. Harvey, what a delight in second place. That is a superb result for the Canadian, and Bakken has to settle himself for a third, quickest in qualification, third today, so gets a thoroughly deserved podium. Fossli skied out of it, but Krog unbelievable double poling. He nearly drove himself out of the stadium, popping up with each drive for the line. And that was sensational work from Krog. And let's not forget Harvey and Bakken, because they contributed to a good race. Oh, that little look over Krog's shoulder, showing full respect. As far as he was concerned, Harvey would be there, but he burned him off in that last 50 metres. Krog wins it here in Oestersund. Well, some racing here in Oestersund, leaving us breathless once again. Full and very superb reward for the crowd who've been here since early doors. And they've stayed all the way through qualification. They really contributed to the atmosphere in the final. Well done, Oestersund. And well done, Marit Bjørgen and Krog. Well, that's where we're heading next. It's Patrick Winterton and Mike Dixon in Oslo for biathlon action. The men taking to the tracks there. So hopefully you can stay with us for that. But for now, from the Cross Country Classic here in Oestersund and me, Simon Golding, I'll say goodbye.
10:47.